My name is Eric Yonker. I've been with Greenmark for 7 years and I'm a service tech. Starting out with getting your platform headers out for the year, getting them ready to go, kind of do a once over, looking them over. I'm going to use a Draper header here, looking at the cutter bar of the Draper header. This one is a 40-foot flex Draper, so with that we've got a dual sickle drive. Your platform heads are going to have a single drive, so you're going to have one long cutter bar instead of dual cutter bars. But we're going to look at a few things that's relatively important. One, we got our sickles, and if they're dull, you're going to want to replace them. Two, we've got our guards. These are just as important as your sickle. There's two different style of guards. One is a dual finger, one is a single, and they're not going to go together, or the dual tips are not going to go next to another dual tip. So this way you've got a stagger on your guards. You're going to look at the space in between, make sure that's not worn out, and for anything broke, bent, or damaged from hitting rocks or eating dirt or just wear. The next that is real important is the hold downs. These hold downs are real important to keep your cutter bar where it should be. The ones on the ends are a little bit different than the ones in the center. They got a higher loop right there. For checking your space between your hold down and your cutter bar, you can take your Greenmark sales card from your local Greenmark salesman and slide that underneath your cutter bar and your knives and your hold down. And if that fits, that's about a 20 thousandths gap. That'll give you the clearance that you need. If you have to go a little thicker or a little bit thicker of a space just for the rubbing, it's not going to be that detrimental, but you want to try to keep it close to that business card thickness going throughout the whole header. In the center you have on this dual sickle drive, you're going to have an overlap kit. Your guards are different, your knives are different. The next thing that's real important to look at with a HydroFlex header on these Drapers is your cutter bar performance. One thing that really affects cutter bar performance is having air in the hydraulic system of the cutter bar. You'll want to do at least once a year is to hook it. We have a test port on the side. There's one on each side. Put your fitting on. To hook those fittings up, you're going to want to lower your cutter bar pressure as low as it will go. It'll probably drop down to about 10 or 15 pounds on your display in your combine, and that will allow you to be able to hook up your fitting. This whole process works better with two people, one in the combine cab and one out by the side of the combine header. You raise up your cutter bar pressure and open your bleed valve and let the oil push all the air out the system. You go and do that on both sides to bleed the air out. One thing to note, if you have an early 600 series flex Draper, you will not have this lift assist spring in the outer cylinders of your Draper header. The later serial number, they added that spring to help counteract the extra weight of the knife drive. If you're finding your sides are digging into the dirt and you're plowing more dirt than what you'd like, you can swap out the cylinders with a later serial number. They will fit, and that will help aid in the sides digging in. For belt optimization, there's a few things we really want to pay close attention to. With a dual belt Draper, one of the characteristics that sets it apart from the single belt is on the dual belt, the drive for both belts is right here in the middle. With that, we've got some added support pieces. This goes on to the rolls, this goes on to the cutter bar. They're supposed to be overlapped about like that. What happens over time, as the header gets some age and fatigue, that can wear out or get flexed enough where that will fall below that support. When it's setting like that, now everything, all the support structures underneath the header are now rubbing hard against the Draper belt. which could either stall your Draper belts or wreck your belts rather quickly. When this is sitting on top like it should, that will hold the right distance of your Draper belts to your front seal plates. Now if these start wearing out, your belt there'll be a very sharp edge on there that can start cutting your belt, along with letting debris and residue and dirt fall between the belt and the seal. With cleaning out your belts periodically throughout the day, especially when running beans, single belt or dual belt, raise your header all the way up on your combine, raise your cutter bar pressure all the way up, which will bring the cutter bar to its highest position. Your belt speeds you're looking for is anywhere from 160 to 220 RPMs. What'll happen when you get in a narrow patch of crop, you can shoot your crop underneath the opposite side. So the slower your belts are running, the less chance you have of that happening when you get into a smaller stretch of crop. One of the last things that I really want to point out with a cutter bar on these flex platforms is the poly skid. A couple of things can happen. If you're running too high or too low a cutter bar pressure, you're going to put a lot more weight on these and you're going to burn them out faster. Also, as they wear out, you can get holes in them, which will dam up the dirt and will keep material from sliding underneath, especially when you're cutting beans. And then you can start getting dirt buildup or residue buildup in front of your cutter bar, which will raise up that portion of your cutter bar. When that happens, if you're running header height, it will raise up your header and it can cause skips.